Bassett walked, Bassett walked, Bassett walked.
Like most aviation professionals, we are held to pretty high standards. You know, we have to do our check rides every 6 months. We get an EKG, and that's all to maintain FAA standards. The conditions are truly minimal on board our aircraft. To give you an example, I'll demonstrate.
Yeah, we know what that is. This is where you use to go for a number one,
And
and a much bigger bag for go number two, which we don't want to show you.
we don't want to talk about that because it
Use your imagination.
gets pretty disgusting.
You have to use it just outside the cockpit and put it into a plastic bag and hope it doesn't leak.
We have female crew members on board, and at times that gets pretty tricky because we have to use this bag, and for a girl, that's not the best situation. Well, unfortunately, we don't have the luxury of having the basic necessities on board.
Well, I'll answer that. Nothing. Nada. Zilch.
Well, that's about the size of it. No water, no anything.
A typical day can last 18 hours. 16 is usually what they want, but they can push it to 18, and after an 18-hour day, they can call us again for another trip with 8 hours rest, and that's 8 hours from when we get in to 8 hours when they call us.
And of course, during that time, we fly at all hours of the night, and typically when we arrive at a station, there are no facilities available, so there's no food. And most other airlines provide their crews with food and water and the basic stuff. This airline doesn't.
Layover hotels are usually paid for by the captain, but if the captain doesn't want to pay for it, the company mandates that each crew member be responsible for his or her accommodations and then submit receipts to get it reimbursed.
Yeah, and you're usually reimbursed about 2 to 4 weeks later, which, you know, when you're being paid less than what we consider minimum for this industry, that's pretty critical. When it comes to pay, the company was not very forthcoming or honest in what they advertised and what they delivered. On their website, they advertise a starting pay of $60,000. Most guys are lucky to see a starting pay of $38,000, and that's been the case ever since I've been here.
Well, the pay scale has not changed since at least 1999. I'm sure there's not a company in the country that hasn't given a pay raise since 1999. And also with the inflation, it's basically a pay cut every year.
And in addition to that, they saw fit to do a 10% pay cut across the board. So we're way behind the power curve here on that.
They just took 10% away from you?
10% was taken away from us, 10%.
Across the board.
And with no time frame for it being returned to us.
That's across the board, all your 401k, everything.
401k, your
401k match was suspended and we're not getting it back either.
right. And as of late, they've elected to take away our sick leave. I don't know where that puts us. People are bound now to come in and fly even if they're sick.
You're not allowed to get sick?
Well, you can get sick. You've got to give a notice. If you don't give a notice within 2.5 hours from when you're supposed to go on duty, then they'll dock you 5 hours. So if you get sick just before the trip, either you fly it or it'll cost you 5 hours pay.
So you pretty much have to be clairvoyant and know when you're going to get sick with this company. Well, in Buffalo, that crew ended up having to go fly an aircraft, even though one of the crew members wasn't at 100%. And it was because of that low salary scale. They were put into a catch-22 where, you know, you fly or you don't make enough to meet your obligations.
Yeah, she spent the night traveling from Washington State to her home base, and I think she'd been up for like 30 hours with a little bit of crew rest in the crew room.
So it's a combination of lack of rest and a little bit of lack of training and expertise in dealing with icing conditions. But it was the perfect storm, and it ended in tragedy for people in the air and also folks on the ground.
My name is Ron Taylor, President PACO. I'm here on the picket line here in South Miami with the Teamsters Airline Division in reference to the Amerijet lockout strike that's going on right now. I've seen this contract. It's very deplorable. I cannot believe that in the 21st century management would make this type of offer to these people. They have bad working conditions. Okay, the contract is not what they need. Okay, this company needs to get its act together, get back to the table, and negotiate in good faith to put these people back to work.
In this business, what I've realized coming from a military background is that everything operates on an honor system. And here, if you don't have any honor, you really can't use the system.
Second that.
Basket walked. 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 Basket walked.
Basset walk. 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 Basset walk.